Before we get started, I want to remind you that you don't follow me because I tell you what you want to hear. You follow me because I tell you what the numbers say. Why did I bring that up so early? Because this video, the video that we've all seen, is propaganda. And literally nobody watching this video is going to want to believe me because it's so much easier to believe what this video is saying than what's actually happening. But I need you to grab your biscuits because you need to listen.
Take an idea that nobody supports, literally nobody, and it has about a 30% chance of becoming federal law. Now, take an incredibly popular idea, the most popular idea this country has ever seen, and there's also about a 30% chance of it becoming law. This means that the number of American voters for or against any idea has no impact on the likelihood that Congress will make it law.
Okay, a few things with that. First off, elections exist, and not everybody votes in them, which means elections and legislation are decided by who shows up to the polls, not what's popular. And in the last congressional election, only 46% of eligible voters actually showed up to pick their representatives. If you have 46% of a population, that is not representative of a population. And you may be thinking, but Nick, we don't have good choices to vote for in the elections anyway. Well, only about 20% of our eligible voting population goes to the primary to pick the candidates to actually run in the election. If 100% of the population voted and this was true, then yes, that would be a huge fucking deal. But the fact is, only about 20% of eligible voters actually show up to pick their representatives. And also there's a reason why if you contact any grassroots lobbying organization, they will tell you that writing your representative is an extremely important way to make change. Because if you're willing to go out and write your representatives about an issue that you care about, you're also probably willing to vote. And they need votes to win elections. But let's move on.
This flat line only accounts for the bottom 90% of income earners in America. Economic elites, business interests, people who can afford lobbyists, they get their own line. Look at how much closer their line is to the ideal.
Yeah, that's fucking fascinating. But you know what else is fucking fascinating? Look at this graph! The bottom 90% of income has a disproportionately lower chance of voting than higher percentages of income, which means even outside of corporate lobbying and outside of campaign funding, the representatives that the elites want in office are going to remain in office because the bottom percentage of income earners don't fucking vote. And even with voter suppression, the income disparity in the United States is still enough that the lower class overpowers the upper class by a considerable margin if they would just show up to the polls. And they tell us this on purpose. This is part of their narrative.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
If our system was so rigged that voting didn't matter, why would the upper class consistently vote at higher rates than lower class people? Answer: they wouldn't. They would not waste their time on it. They wouldn't waste their energy on it, and they definitely wouldn't spend money trying to get you to stay home. Our system has a ton of problems, from gerrymandering to money in politics to the way that our bills are passed, and there are a lot of people in Congress on both sides, however disproportionately on one side, who don't listen to the majority of the population. But none of these problems will be fixed if you keep doing what these upper class elites want you to keep doing, and that's sitting at your keyboard arguing with people on the internet. Instead of organizing, instead of protesting, instead of writing your representatives, instead of going out during elections and voting.